Hey folks, what's going on? Lucian here, and today we got a quick 15-minute shoulder, upper body, spine mobility warm-up. Okay, this is really good to do before going into work, before sitting all day, before driving, before bed, after you wake up, even as a warm-up before a workout, if you're going into the gym to lift or do anything else. Okay, so we will get going here. You're not going to need anything other than just your body, okay? So no tools, equipment, or anything like that needed for today. What we're going to work on here is coming out. We're going to stretch out nice and wide, okay? Spreading the fingers out, okay? Nice and wide. Stretching and turning. Stretching and turning. Kind of turning those hands over, just like this. Working into the shoulders, nice and slow. Sometimes it can be a little clicky in there, a little bit like uncomfortable. And so we're gonna look to go nice and slow, okay? Sometimes, it helps to really slow it down, work through those areas, okay? Nice and slow, rotating through. If that's quite painful for you, then what you can try doing is bending the elbows a little bit and coming through like this. Okay, bending the elbows, coming through, just like this. Big and broad in the chest. Now, what I want to do with the chest here is stick the chest out, but I don't want to arch my back so much like this. So I want to keep my back nice and tall and straight as I continue going through like this. Forward and back, forward and back. Here, okay, we're going to now switch over, okay, we're going to go to backwards circles, all right, backwards circles. As we're going through this backward circles, we're pushing the chest up and out, okay, same thing. I'm not overarching my back, all right, I'm just nice and tall, almost like I'm pulling myself up onto something right here, boom. Boom, nice and big and tall. Boom, I'm almost pulling myself up. Pushing the chest out, trying to engage in my upper back, in my back, getting the shoulders going. If you really work through this, squeeze, engage through the chest, through the lats, through the shoulder blades and everything in the upper back here, it can start to get quite challenging. You break a little bit of a sweat. So this is a nice little one. Even though it doesn't look like much, this is pretty challenging for me right now because I'm just coming back from the gym. So I'm feeling this pretty good right now. This is also a really good one like before bed, like after the gym type of deal. We're just kind of loosen things up a little bit, right? Okay, loosen things up. All right, so now we're going to almost like butterfly the chest forward, and then as we come forward here with the hands, we're going to stretch our back backwards. We're almost like pushing our spine towards the back wall behind us, okay? So we're pushing that spine towards the back wall here. Nice and gentle. If you have any back pain, anything that's uncomfortable throughout this process, move through it nice and gently. No need to force anything. This is just a smooth, gentle process looking to kind of lubricate things, prime things, get things rolling. Like I said, really good before bed, after you wake up in the morning, these types of things before workout. Sometimes I do this type of thing before I go and I lift heavy, right? I'll go and do this before I lift heavy, before I go and do jiu-jitsu. Just looking to really kind of get those joints firing in the right way, get some fluid into these areas, right? So boom, I'm coming here, I'm pushing my spine back. I'm letting my scapula, the chicken wings, the shoulder blades back here, right? Bang, these guys. Looking to kind of stretch them over the sides here, kind of let them come down. I'm stretching them over the sides of my back. Across this side rib cage down by the lats, all right? Boom, here, stretch them forward, pull the chest nice and big. Stretch forward, pull the chest nice and big. Okay, working through this. Boom, boom. You know, one of the problems with our modern culture, I don't like just talking about problems because it makes me sound ungrateful. I'm very grateful for our modern culture and everything that we have. We have so many opportunities and abilities to do things. We can make content like this and reach lots of people and connect with people, and you know, we have all sorts of amazing things in our life that we don't have to break our backs to make a living for. I was just talking about this with some folks the other day. Somebody asked, like, what are you grateful for that you're not living 200 years ago? And I was like, well, we don't have to work physically for a living. Now we just get to work physically, like, for fun. But when you're working physically for a living, you're working 18 hours a day out in the fields or in a steel mill, and it's really challenging and really painful, right? Just keep moving the shoulders, keep moving the arms. We're going to continue pushing the chest forward, sending the spine back, lining the breath up with this process, breathing nice and steady. So now we don't have to go and actually work physically so much. Obviously some people do, but a lot of people sit and work at desks, and you know, we'll go to the gym and then we won't move really for the rest of our day. So we'll just go to the gym and then we'll be pretty stagnant. We'll be pretty sedentary for the rest of our day. You can have people who are in shape, they have muscles, they're looking good, but they're not functioning or performing very well because they'll be really directly focused muscle in 1 hour of their day, and then for the rest of their day they won't be very active at all. And so their joints aren't very dynamic, they're not very strong, they're very limited, their body is just not very capable in a lot of other capacities. And so one of the best things for joint health is just frequent low-grade movement. You know, it's like walking, you know, not even running, like light jogging, swift walking, you know, just very active movement, gardening, taking care of chores, physical chores. This is why homesteading and just like having chickens and doing some gardening work is so nice. You know, it just gets you moving on like a low level, right? As opposed to just sitting totally deactivated like all day, and then I go to the gym, I do bench press, and then I leave, right? It's challenging for our system to go, you know, it's basically I move and then I don't move for the rest of the day. There's no in between, so that's really not good for the joints. So if you are one of these desk people, if you are one of these bench press people in the gym, just going to the gym and lifting heavy, whatever that might be, no hate, I get it, that's the world we live in. So this is a really great type of exercise that you can do just to start to get some of that motion, mobility into the joints, especially before bed when you go to sleep, kind of priming these things up a little bit. Then you can go and rest and recover, and they have some nutrients flowing, some blood flow flowing through them, some fresh oxygen, some fresh hormones moving through the system. Once you start getting a sweat on and breathing, you're gonna kick in all of your hormonal systems and everything operating, right? So just getting that blood flow just a little bit going here, really nice, just to kind of help the system move things along. Really good for digestion, really good just to like, hey, I just ate a meal, let me go. It's not quite Tai Chi, you know what I mean? It can be, but it's just kind of some low-grade movement. Right now we're just kind of keeping it to the shoulders, thinking about that chest, shoulder mobility, right? Coming up, I want to be able to come up overhead. I want to be able to press, boom, something nice and strong, be able to get up overhead with strength and mobility. I want to have good range of motion. I want to have good strength. I want to be able to have good spinal flexion in both directions, right? I want to have the ability for my my chicken wings back here to move around, right? Up and down. That's going to really tie into shoulder ability and mobility, coming up overhead, right? I want to have the ability to move in my rib cage, right? I want to be able to flex forward, flex back, flex side to side, move around in my rib cage here as this type of just basic level of movement and mobility. I work on this a lot with a lot of my clients. One of the things that we do is I'll find different planes that they're not able to move into, that's very challenging for them to move into. So for example, for today, I had a guy and we were working on just pushing the spine back, right? Just driving, separate from the hips, separate from the shoulders, separate from the head, that low level spine, right? Just pushing that guy back because he lived way over. He lived in a pelvic anterior tilt, okay? Lived over here, boom, hiked up here, tense back, working on, boom, just driving that spine back. And if he can't do that, then he's gonna be stuck in this position, right? So we're trying to just kind of prime a bit of this stuff going into the day, right? It's gonna help with posture, help with mobility, all of this stuff, right? So we're gonna keep moving through, okay? Keep moving through. We're gonna keep moving those shoulders. We're gonna go one over at a time, okay? One through at a time. We're gonna do big windmills, one over at a time. Starting with the right side, or if you started with the left, you can continue with the left. Here. One through at a time. We're looking to reach. We're trying to look to really kind of get that scapula gliding over, okay, through reaching with the shoulder, getting a bit of stretch through these positions here, coming back, and now finding the other stretch in the other direction. Get a bit of a stretch through the chest, let that scapula glide back across the back side of this rib cage here, boom, moving back here, project the chest, coming back over the top. Now we're going around. Imagine there's like a string tied to the end of your hand and it's pulling you all around. It's pulling it in every direction, right? It's pulling you in all around. So it's going to pull that shoulder all the way through. Pulling that shoulder down, pulling it back, pulling it up, pulling it across in front. Here we go. Yeah. This is really good for me because I had a kind of like I'm still kind of dealing with it, a mild strain in my upper back on my left side here. So let's go ahead and switch sides. Okay. And this is a really good thing to do, just working on some of this motion through that area. Like one of the things that is a common misnomer is when we get injured, you know, we want to avoid movement, avoid the area, just rest. And it's really not true. We want to work into these areas. We want to find the weak points. Usually if we strain something, it means we're overcompensating. We're doing too much of something. We got to fix something. We got to postural correction. We have some, you know, it might be minor. It might be some small adjustments to make, but these are important adjustments when you start loading things up with weight. And just over time, loading things up with your body weight after 30, 40, 50 years, you know, eventually you start hanging 30 years worth of body weight over top of a specific body part, tugs on it, tugs on it, tugs on it. We start to pull back, so we start to throw things out. So this is why, you know, some of this stuff going through some of these motions real gently, not with weight, is how we start building those connections into these areas. It's like, I can move into that area. Okay, cool. I can move back. I wasn't able to move back before. I have clients not even able to move back, not even able to bring the back, right? And it's a challenge because now they have a huge blind spot in their movement patterns, right? They have this enormous blind spot in terms of where their body is comfortable going. And when you get to that place where you need to move back in that direction, your body's not going to feel comfortable, you know, moving there. So it's going to compensate and do something else in order to make up for it. Over time, that's going to wear you down. And we're going to run into issues. You know, something's going to break at some point. And so first things first is really kind of like building some awareness in the body. And that just comes from light movement, you know, in really gentle ways. some guided movement. You know, if you have some issues or if you have some challenges with this and you want to work with me, I work with clients on this all day, every day, and I can work with you as well. If you want, you can go and click a link down below to book a one-on-one. I'll be able to assess. We'll do a virtual meeting. I can assess where your body's at, what's going on, and we can look at, you know, some of those different compensations. Even though it'll be digitally, I've been doing these virtual consultations. They work great. I can still see everything going on. I'll ask you to maybe move around a little bit more. You know, we'll need some more verbal cues. But, you know, shifting around, I'll be able to see everything going on. And then you'll be able to get some targeted, specific advice in terms of like where, you know, your blind spots might be. And it might be hard to figure that out on your own. So if you're interested, you can click the link below and you can book a session with me. So let's just keep moving through this position here, okay? Let's go into a small roll up through the spine, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna hug the chest, just like this, okay? We're gonna hug our chest, and we're gonna go roll down. This is kind of like a Jefferson curl, if you guys know what that is. If you don't worry, okay? And I'm coming all the way up, just kind of looking for some of that spinal mobility and flexion. Just looking to come up and down, vertebrae by vertebrae, moving through this position, nice and slow. Up and up, down and down, vertebrae by vertebrae. Let your back just kind of open up, move around. Push the chest forward at the end here. Boom, big chest forward, right? But letting the head come down, vertebrae by vertebrae, and then coming back up. I'm kind of staying tall because I want to stay in the frame here, but you can go all the way down, right? You can bend all the way down to where you're getting to kind of almost like a forward fold, right? But the focus here is just keeping those vertebrae nice and safe. So if it hurts at all, if it doesn't feel good, then you can pull it back and stay a little higher and just work on trying to build up some of this mobility nice and light. If you stay real high, you'll be able to play with this with less risk. The more we go over, the more we're kind of loading up the spine, right? And we're putting some more load, more pressure into that mid-low back area, and that's going to be challenging for some of us. So if you don't want to play around with that, you can just play around with doing this in a higher position, just going here up and down, vertebrae by vertebrae, moving through. I'm going to push through here. I can also play around with pushing through, driving my belly forward, vertebrae coming up, rolling it up to the top, and then coming back down all the way through. Right? Kind of starting to do some S's through here, some like waves almost. Okay? Really looking to just build this mind-body connection in terms of like awareness. First thing's awareness. If you can't have the awareness of certain body parts, then it makes it really hard to own those body parts when it comes to positions under load. So especially if you want to lift heavy weight, or if you just don't want to get injured. You know, most people don't want to get injured. Maybe they have some goals for themselves, you know, maybe they have some weight goals in terms of losing weight, lifting weight, whatever it might be. A lot of people just don't want to get injured. And so one of the best things that you can do, one of the safest things that you can do, really safe, has so many benefits, is just sit here for 10 minutes and move through your body and just do so in a way where, you know, it doesn't, I know it might look weird or whatever. You don't have to do this in the gym. You can just do this at your house. You can do this by yourself. It can just be a quick 10-minute thing. And we're just looking to, you know, move through the system here in a way that is going to be nice and valuable, not stressful or strenuous or intense. It's just to build some awareness, a connection, some fluidity. We're trying to reduce those blind spots so that we have more bodily awareness in space, so that we can move around, so that we can call and respond our body into different positions, right? And that's going to be the safest thing when it comes to falling or tripping, falling. The biggest risk of injury and death for old people is falling. And so building awareness in their body of where they are, if they're always trying, falling over themselves forward, right? It's building the awareness of their center of gravity, right? These are huge things when it comes to elderly populations, and when it comes to knee injuries, back injuries, all that stuff. So give that warm up a go for yourself at the house, before bed, when you wake up, before the gym, before jiu-jitsu, before whatever you're doing. And it'll really help you just kind of build that mind-body awareness. Also build some lubrication, just kind of get the muscles warmed up, the joints warmed up. And that's what we're looking for, guys. So give a like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.